Now, there was traffic today on arrival, so it was quite packed compared to typical days. Usually, when I come to school, there's not really many cars, but whatever the case is, I got to school at around 8:37 a.m. since I had to prepare breakfast. The teacher assistant for the locker room that we have to prepare in told us that we should go to our teacher since it passed 10 minutes. But thankfully, my PE teacher vouched for me and allowed me to go into the main PE area. And the teacher's assistant, was frustrated since he did call us back to our teacher, but he said that he's late, but eventually the TA shrugged it off and kept on going. Although others with me were not as lucky with their PE teachers. I finished up a 4 lap walk and then I played basketball, but I kept thinking about something that kind of disrupted what I was playing. Also, later on, some kid used my basketball and joked that he would kiss someone if he made it, so he didn't make the shot sadly, but I wonder who he was going to kiss anyway. I moved to another court since the team wanted to take both courts, so I mean, really not much here. But later on, we got called for roll call again for the second time to choose a sport that we want to pick for the next 2 weeks. But I could not choose badminton, and I'll explain that later. Sadly had to go back to volleyball, and it became sad because when I was in the volleyball game, other new people joined, that diluting our original team skill. So I just stood there kind of sad. And I know like we should accept newcomers, and we would. But the thing is that these people kind of acted a little bit entitled. For example, like I tried to tell them to take this position. I tried to negotiate, but they wouldn't budge at all. But I don't think they're entitled. They're probably just miss aiming. But during the roll call for picking our sport, Kalisa and Salif and some other boys argued about Salif forehead. Apparently, it glistens when it exposed to the sun, and they argued about girlfriends and some other baseless drama that I don't remember. And I was not able to pick my sport for badminton because the teacher went person by person. So if there's 10 people in the front who want the sport, and there's only like 15 spots, then there's already like 10 people who already taken. Like you're already gone at that point. And no more spots. Badminton is one of the most sought after ones in this one, so it's kind of like a save it for yourself type of thing. Instead of the teacher asking to like ask the class to stand up to what sport they want to, like if the teacher says badminton, everyone stand up if you want to do badminton or do volleyball. For that example, he didn't do that. He went one by one, so obviously the best ones get picked away first. I had the worst teacher for the sport that I always say volleyball because she's really the Russian secret police KGB. Like she is the department head for the Russian secret police KGB of calling out students for the smallest things. If I was to go to Putin right now, if I was to take a diplomatic visit from the US, like if I was to have like a conversation with him, what I would tell Putin is that that's her, bro. Like she's the secret police that literally tells kids for the smallest mistakes that they say. That's where I'm gonna leave right there. But anyways, I know I should be neutral to the newcomers that were in my volleyball game, and I was for most of the time. But the thing is that they didn't really negotiate. They sort of acted entitled, but I can't really decide if they're really entitled. The thing is that there wasn't any negotiation about how we do things on that side. I'm not really sure at that point. For history, we learned about the Viet Cong War and the 8-Year War and how this became a Cold War victory for communists, even after a U.S. ceasefire that eventually North Vietnam took over 2 years after. Later on, we had another book search assignment for 25 minutes, but I just spent most of the time daydreaming and like, doing nothing for these. I helped the kid that the teacher made me a deal with that I would waive my score, and I helped him regarding Cold War alliances, China, the US, and the USSR, and helping him to craft various sentences. Later on, we have a skit project to do, and we have to do it regarding the Cold War, so I'm really not happy, guys. Please like the video if you like relate to this. I do not like projects, although I can speak confidently in front of people. I just don't like projects. It's just like, and I'm not happy. Thankfully, this is a partner project, and it's kind of like a news report type. So instead of like the elaborate projects, it's just gonna be like a simple news report. Like, oh my gosh, guys, we have new Russian cosmonauts have found this on the moon or something, whatever. I'll share the Google document if you guys want to see it. My friends call it Project Sputnik. For lunch, I passed many of my friends who I visited once before. But for lunch, I ate salmon, peanuts, walnuts, and 2 corn flour tortillas. But this is just not enough food for me. And the thing is that I did hesitate for a little bit, but I sat with the guy I was partners with in history class, and every time I opened food, I asked if anybody has allergies. And thankfully, he said no for nuts, flour, and obviously walnuts. But he is allergic to walnuts, but only if he eats it. If he smells it, then it's whatever. We talked for 10 minutes, and then I headed out. And then I waved to a random person as I was heading out, and then I met with Ray on Scoop. But then again, I came back to the cafeteria to check one last thing, and then later on, I went back into the highway and talked with a friend. And we had a good short conversation about Spanish, Italian, and classes. Anyways, from lunch to math transition, I talked to Davin Scoop and it went fine as I was handshaking my friend. But the thing is that as I was handshaking Davin, Samuel kind of broke formation, so he tried to mess around with us. It was funny though. I'll make it as a. For math class, we had FIAB testing and we had a review worksheet for the CASP test. It was basic review stuff about quadratics, b squared minus 4ac, finding the greatest common factor, factoring the quadratic formula, and the scale factor. I worked and finished it, but the scale factor confused me the most because from one shape you would multiply the scale factor, but from the other shape you would divide the number by the scale factor. So that confused me, so I just solved it manually with proportions. And for that, right around 240, we did the FIAB testing phase. For this last thing, and the test was simple. You logged out of the main page of your PC, you restarted to the point of login, then you click on the apps and kiosk mode, you access secure test browser, you input your SSID for your school, and then it shows a test for video or audio and a code that the teacher has to give us. The layout kind of makes it feel like you're in a bank vault with many buttons. It has the LPAC logo, stands for California, state sponsors, and blue and white colors. It's kind of like a Scantron layout color. Some are white and blue, some are red. But these are some questions that I got in last week's review, almost like the same exact one, so I had it no problem. I got confused on one problem, which was 12b squared minus 27, because when solving using quadratic standard, there's no b term, so I got confused. I got 1296 mid-step, but I divided it too early, and the thing is, I accidentally got negative 54, positive 54 as an answer, but I had to simplify 1296 to 36 and then divide. Then I got positive negative 3 over 2. And today, overall, not really much to note here, but I was lucky that that teacher in PE did not mark me late, gave me that leniency, so I'm grateful for that.